Hello, people. Welcome, Divergent Warriors. This is the time. So welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy Sawyer here. And let's welcome the new subs. So Christine Garner, welcome. Thank you for being here. It's lovely to see you. And to Stephanie Brown, thank you so much for being here. And to Awadzi Salesi, I think. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you're finding a little of what you need. So this is a big week. There's some big energies, colossal energies. And I want to try and speak into it. It won't be a massive card reading today. It might help you to grab a journal and some water and tune into the body, because parts of this might be triggering for you if you're in it. And so I wanted to talk into what 90% of my client base have brought in the last week or two, and it's building up to a crescendo. Bear with me. And I think I'm going to call this video, what have I written down? The teen rises into the queen. Okay. So this is about standing to your full height. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So it's an initiatic, I want to say gateway, because all I keep seeing are two pillars, and those who have done the work are walking through. And it's a level up, it's an uplift into queen energy. Okay, don't make this gender specific, because in tarot, all the queens contain water energy. And inherent within that is a choice of whether we rise up and step into the element of that queen, whether it be cups, which is water and water, or fire or earth, or light, truth, okay, or whether we defer to the emotional teenager, because the emotional teenager is rising up. So I'm going to put this in the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon series of videos. So the hidden dragon I'm seeing as, well, there's a lot of dragon energy coming in. And what I've been shown in the last week or two is that what we call archangelic energy is dragon energy. So in the essence of, let's call it the original custodians of sovereignty. Yeah. And again, I want to come back to heavy is the head that wears the crown, because to move into sovereignty is to flip the apple cart upside down, is life-changing. It's life-changing. To move into that dignity is life-changing. So, and I'm going to give another shout out to another relatively new YouTuber, one of my regular viewers, and an amazingly gifted woman. So I want to give a shout out to Angel Wings Holistics. I'm going to put the link in the description box. She's birthed a new channel of beautiful podcasts, which is so clear. They're full of clarity. And she's a Reiki healer, a powerful psychic, and personal and business coach mentor. So she works in a holistic way, in a systemic way, actually, which really acknowledges that your business is you and you are your business. It's a symbiotic relationship. So if there is, let's say, a wounding within, it will show up in your business. And if there is a joy and a truth and a passion within, that too will show up within your business. So she will help you see how and where you are affecting different aspects of your business. It's beautiful work. So check out the link. I'm going to put both her website and her YouTube channel in. Check out, drop her some likes, subscribe, help her grow, because she's bringing some Boing. She's really bringing it. Right. Now I've made a few notes here and they might be disparate because I'm bringing the field together. So just go with what is and you'll put it together in your own way. I absolutely trust that. Earning queen status has felt like a cruel lesson. So I'm in this energy too. I had a crowning ceremony a couple of years ago in my etheric work, which followed graduation. And well, if you're given a crown, you have to go to school to learn how to wear it. And it's huge. So I've had some massive insights this morning, and it isn't an elegant journey. I haven't found it elegant. I've found it heavy, sacrificial, dissonant, disappointing, frustrating. And as I talk into that, there is this anger, okay? And I'm calling this the wild self. So the wild self is getting ready to roam or explode. So, yeah, lovely vision there of either roaming the earth in dignity or exploding like a volcano. Okay. So remember, in my world, all behavior is okay. And I believe the New Age movement has actually poured water on fiery passion. It's like it's drowned the sacral. And so there's this editing going on that I've been witnessing of tidying up the teenager, of sanitizing the teenager, the raw, visceral, wild self, making it palatable because you don't want to upset anybody. This brings out the people pleaser. Okay. So for me, I've had to challenge a deeper part of me as I find the courage to reject an opportunity which turns out to be fool's gold. Okay, so what that's doing is that's breaking down some illusion in me, and it's been very uncomfortable. It's only been a short journey, 3 or 4 days. I spotted it, but it's just it's the remnants of what feels like teenage disappointment. It's that kind of energy. Okay, so the queen energy is not wishy-washy. Queen energy is clear and decisive. It's about having nothing left to prove. Okay, so that's when we genuinely move into what you think of me as none of my business. And if my being myself upsets or offends you in some way, I'm comfortable with that. Okay, so this is making profound change in the world. So getting to a space where you have nothing left to prove can be a lonely, seemingly barren land where we must stand alone. Now, I think I mentioned this in a previous video so I've been in a big transition. Yeah. It's been going on for years, but this current bit has been going on for a couple of weeks. And what I've noticed in the last 2 weeks is, so I know 3 or 4 top banana facilitators. And I've noticed that when I've reached out, every time they haven't been available, and I keep getting this queen voice, it's a very feminine voice, which is firm but fair, that says, you must do this part alone. So what that's going to trigger is the unsupported teenager. It's that, okay. So here I must stand alone. So I've got to walk through this gateway on my own without help. So what are we coming into? We're coming into autonomy. We're coming into resilience. We're coming into self-leadership, self-leading, self-managing leadership. Okay, sovereignty. So it's about self-confidence without arrogance. It's integrated and it's centered. And God, does it take some work. What? Being given Genoese sponge. Is that a hard sponge to make? Genoese sponge. Okay. Self-reliance has been repeatedly ground into me, as those who have supported me are suddenly no longer available, and the words, "you must do this part alone," repeat in my mind. So we're in some slow moving energy. I'm hearing words like sticky, heavy, sullen. And it's time to sit in the rubble of what is hidden or what you've been revealing and are getting ready to live in. So you've been touching this for a while. And it's a deeper expression. It's really raw. It's very honest. So lots of stuck teenager energy, tons of it. I'm feeling into Mars in Cancer. So Mars is applying the fire to the family system. This is siblings, parents, children. It's that system. It's those dynamics. So Mars is the physical body. So you're going to feel this. Cancer family, where the teenager got stuck or limited or put in a box or tidied up or sanitized. It's potentially explosive energy. Okay. And I've literally heard the sentence this week, "Stop fucking tidying me up," when the teenager came through, when we were doing some systemic work. Okay. And the teenager rises into a queen. All queens contain water, even the Queen of Swords in all her mind energy. The queen energy has the choice of acting and creating from her element or through her emotions. Teenager, okay. And there's some trickster energy as well. Twice in 2 days, I've been sent that old Culture Club song, "It's a Miracle." And that's all about something about walking down the street, you don't know who you're going to meet, who's in disguise. So that's about trickster. That's about having the wool pulled over your eyes. And that could have come through in toxic narrative by parents. You're a mess. Stop shouting. Tidy your room, tidy your clothes, tidy your hair. You know, and the teenager is moving through this teen phase. I'm gonna pin it on kind of 13, 14-year-old, because that's such a sacred initiatic time in a human being's life. And we're a mess during that phase. We're angry, we're full of chemicals, we are out of balance, we are trying to find, I mean, a beautiful sentence was, "My sexy is wounded." And that applies to feminine and the masculine, you know. And that applies to the sacral chakra and the pouring of water onto all of that fire. And the sacral is about raw sexual creative power. Okay. So they're my headline notes. And with permission of my amazing clients, I've captured a few sentences which I want to share with you. And again, tune into your body. Teenager, the shy, shameful, attractive peacock. So this speaks into unwanted energy. Okay, so sometimes I work with sexual abuse, predator abuse. And when we're talking into wounded sexy, we're talking into a kid becoming sexually aware, even becoming sexually active, but not knowing how to operate that machinery in a more than physical way, in a sensory way, in a sensitive way. Okay, so mess is going to get made. Shyness is coming through as a cover for unworthiness. So unworthiness, trickster, is masquerading as shyness. I'm shy. So when I explore what's shyness to you, what actually comes out is I'm not worthy of your attention. And here we have the unvalidated, unmet, unheard teenager. Okay, not worthy. Emotional validation. So again, if we weren't validated as teenagers, then what we'll do is we'll set up a system of people pleasing so that we get the big strokes. Okay. People pleasing is a necessary evil, but it's very toxic on the heart and the mind and the soul and the body as we contort out of our true shape into giving that to you to make us something. It's how human beings manipulate one another. Because all human beings want to be loved. All human beings want to be loved, met, held, respected, honoured. I've seen a lot of scapegoat triangle where the parents have set up perpetrator victim and the child has become the scapegoat. So one parent saying that the other parent was hurt by the child. So putting the other parent into victim, number one parent becoming the perpetrator and the child becoming the scapegoat. And the scapegoat is always going to try and get it right, whatever right is. Rejection after trying so hard, okay? So this is the real shadow side of people pleasing. It's martyr energy. Let's go big picture. What are we wrapping up? We're wrapping up the age of Pisces. Pisces is such a loving, giving, caring, deeply emotional water, deep water sign. So it's really easy for Pisces to slip into that victim martyr energy. So collectively, Pisces holds the field with the victim martyr. Okay. I'm afraid to upset the status quo, but I feel so angry. So this led to a discussion about tipping the apple cart. And yeah, no is a complete sentence. And you have a divine right to your no. But if you move into that watery queen energy, you're going to get stuck in your emotions and it's going to prevent you from accessing willful disappointment. Okay. There's a responsibility here. So let's boil this down. Two people, and they're both people pleasers. So they're both pleasing one another. Nobody's pleasing themselves. And the inevitable resentment is going to start getting built because it won't be good. It will never be good enough. But nobody dares say anything. Okay. So what's happening here is two children are projecting onto one another. So I call it the projecting hand. Okay. So unhealed teenager will project onto another person until you move that projection and heal it. You'll never see the other person. You'll see them as a reflection of yourself and vice versa. So you got this kid narrative going backwards and forwards, never satisfied. So upsetting the status quo can be as simple as no means no. But what's that going to do? Oh, it's going to disappoint the other person. You're not going to get the big strokes. You've got to find that within. It's a bitch. Remember, I always say we build a cathedral within. Everything we need is within. We just have to release it. And in the releasing of it comes all the ancestral shame and guilt. This is an interesting one. There was no one to help me find my sexy. Wow. My sexy is wounded. Wow. Wow, that's huge. I'm seeing two 13, 14-year-olds who are fully dressed, but their belly is naked and hanging out. The belly is naked and hanging out. They're going, what do I do with this? But what do I do with this? Because school wants me to be one way and parents want me to be another way. My peers want me to be another way, but I've got all this raw sexual power and I don't know what to do with it. And so it gets inverted and it becomes rage. I'm going back hundreds of years, thousands of years, and it becomes rage. Unless you're one of the rare children that was educated in a Montessori school and you were allowed to explode creatively, then you're not going to know how to harness, direct and focus this raw sexual power into creating your world, yours, on your terms. Okay. I'm terrified of others' anger. Okay, so this is the unwillingness to disappoint. So this might be where your parents shouted at you because you were opinionated, you were gobby little shite, you were messy, you ate crap food and whatever. Everything a parent can be disappointed at. You'll have done it at that age in some lesser or greater way. You'll have disappointed your parents. And they might have got angry. And you might have gone into survival mode and shut that part of you down, the messy part of you. Because messy is creative. Creative is messy. Okay. And I'd like to share with you a story, a personal story. Years ago, I was invited to co-facilitate a teenagers' camping weekend. And for me to be initiated into this work, I had to do a workshop with the people who were running this camping thing. And I think there were about 10 facilitators to hold these girls. It was a girls' weekend. And we all had to go through a teenage initiation. And so there were two lead facilitators. And one of them, so it was my turn, so I stepped up. So there's a circle of people, and we're in this beautiful place in nature. And so I stepped up, and one of the lead facilitators came up to me and she said, right, she said, I'm just going to bring energy to the sacral. So one hand went on my belly and the other hand went on the corresponding lower back so that the belly was held. And she said, and I want you to reach down now into your right. Let me caveat this. As I share this, I don't want you to go off and do this unless you are fully facilitated, supported and held. Okay. So she held me and I reached right down into the belly just to find the blood and guts of my inner teenager and get her loose. Okay. So there was some movement and some Kundalini rocking. And then suddenly I stood up really tall, really dignified and elegant. And I said, wow, she's powerful. She's so powerful. She's so dignified. I feel very tall, and I talked it through and I described it. And then this facilitator said, just carried on holding, didn't say a thing. And then I flipped just like that and I went, hang about, this is bullshit. That's not who I was. I was not that. That may have been within me, but I was not that. And then I got angry and I allowed myself to act out and just pull this energy up through me. And all the F-bombs came out and the whole world was a POS and all of that. And then after that had passed, this facilitator said, now I want you to make the sound of your teenager. my whole world came crumbling down, because the teenager, okay, shy, shameful, attractive peacock. So within every teenager is this beautiful peacock energy. It wants to fan its tail, it wants to be seen, it wants to do its thing, but it's carrying shame. So when I'm invited to make the sound of my teenager, my shamefulness comes up, my shyness, my unworthiness came up. But I opened my mouth and tried to engage my throat. My throat completely shut down. So I engaged my throat, took my time, and this noise came out of me, and I couldn't ever replicate it. It was the sound of the wild woman. It was so wild. It was like an injured wolf. It was like an injured wolf. And I can't remember if it was a howl or a scream, because it was more felt than heard. And yeah, that kind of energy takes the roof off. So that's the power of the teenager. And ever since, that was years ago, and ever since that, you know, she's been making contact on her own terms, and I've been holding her in my queen energy so that I don't judge her. And another funny story that's just come to mind, I think I told this story on one of my videos, and it was last year when she made an appearance. She was obviously very disgruntled at something. Now, I'm a very tidy person. There's a place for everything, and everything in its place. And I was going out one day, and I always know what to wear. These days, I go straight to it, ding. But this was like a teenage renaissance. And I found this outfit, and then suddenly I kind of became really mindful, and I looked at my bedroom, and it was trashed. There were clothes all over the floor, boots out, shoes out, handbags out, bed disappeared under a mountain of clothes. And I'm like, who the fuck's just done this? Oh, you're here. Right. Okay, what's wrong? So my teenager had come in and made herself known in a really visible physical way. And then in the next day or two, there's obviously another birthing process. I woke up and I was very arms folded, very disgruntled face, angry at everything, hormonal. I thought, I've got to move through this. So I went into the kitchen to put the kettle on. And I just kind of gave it permission to play out. And I granted myself a full-blown tantrum. And all of this anger came out. And that lasted about 5 seconds. And then I started to giggle. And my shoulders were going. And when the shoulders go, what it's doing is it's pumping the solar plexus. Okay, it's pumping the liver. So when you start to dry, if you're doing a deep process and you move into dry sobbing, stay with it, because it's pumping crap out of the liver. It's opening up the solar plexus, this personal center of will, which gets shut down in these teenage years. So yeah, the laughter turned to this dry sobbing, which then turned to this mountain of tears, full release. And then this whoosh of new energy came in, which was just fantastic. So yeah, be not afraid of your inner teenager. Be not the sanitizer and the cleaner upper and the new age hippie. That be nice to everybody, because kindness is great, but when kindness is masking resentment and anger, that's devious behavior. That's trickster energy, and you're tricking yourself. So I want to bring in the strength card, the Leonian strength card. I'm just going to put that imaginarily onto the table, because it's going to take strength, it's going to take courage to move through this gateway as we get elevated. So it's not going to be a big reading. I'm just going to pull a couple of helpful cards. Yeah, let's leave it open and say, what do you want to speak into? What do you want to speak into? What needs to be heard? Oh, wow. Why? Gosh. What was wrong with me? But why did they say that? But why did they judge me? This is a nervous energy. Throat chakra's closing down. Why couldn't I speak? Why didn't they listen? I had great wisdom. Would they only have listened? Got all this mind coming in, overthinking. Ooh. This 44-8 is coming in as absolute fire, karmic fire. You turned my feeling into thinking. It's that energy. You fuckers, it's that energy. You turned my feeling into thinking. Okay, wow. Wow, yep. We had this out recently, didn't we? This was in a recent, wow. Oh, look at these. Yang, masculine, this is solar plexus. And it's this fire that's coming in and it's just burning illusion down to the ground through the chaos and conflict of overthinking and the why. And be in that, be uncomfortable, being uncomfortable. Okay, it's okay. We're going through it. We have to go through it. To complete the cycle, it's a massive cycle. Clearing, closing, karmically ending old contracts with yourself. Forget the rest. Old contracts with yourself. New life. Oh, the potential. There's completion in here too. New life of deep knowing. This is just coming straight off the bottom of the deck, a leg up. So we're moving into elevation, elevating that suppressed teenager like a pressure cooker. The whistle's blowing, I can hear it. Yeah, wow. Wow. Oh, I can really see the beauty of the teenager in this and all that moon energy, all that watery confusion. But look at the wisdom of the owl, bridging between the sun and the moon. The power, I tell you, the power of a teenager changed the world. Changed the world. Wow, how beautiful. Okay, let's get to the medicine. What can we surrender to as we rebirth our teenager? Okay. If you're all grown up and you've left home, you might still be hearing parental narrative. Oh, you can't do that. You can't leave the house wearing that. They're showing me a memory of me as a teenager. I was in my gothic phase, all in black, black eyeshadow, black lipstick, all in black. And my mum just looked at me and went, it was that. I was a one-woman death cult, exploring my shadow self a little bit. Surrender to setting limits, because as we break free into this expansion into the new life, the old limits are going to come in, afraid to upset the status quo universally across your whole world. Okay. So boundaries has been another massive thing in the last few days. Setting unhealthy boundaries. the continual, it's okay, that. No is a complete sentence. Okay. This is your planet. If someone isn't worthy to step onto your planet, go away and come back and approach me in the correct manner. That's a boundary. Okay. So how can you practice expressing your needs? Because that has majorly been shut down in a teenager. Teenagers' true needs, very rarely heard. That's why they resort to anger so quickly. Flash to bang is like that with a teenager. It's like a wounded soldier. Their flash to bang is so quick. Because the expectation of being shut down, limited, is strong. Ah, oh, look at this. Read the last bit. No is a complete sentence. Right, brilliant. Wow. Look at the alignment here. Okay, so brace yourselves. Let's pull out some archetype cards. I'm not convinced. Okay, thank you. Interesting. Let's have some archetype cards. Energies that are presenting, energies that we can harness to help us move through this. No. One at a time, please. Energy's jaggedy, isn't it? Interesting. Okay, first one is teacher. Thank you for bringing that in. I've missed that whole field. Right, I've missed that whole field. Right, teacher energy. I'm going to bring it in its shadow because I've seen that present in the last few days. So the shadow teacher is about manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. I hear too many stories of wounded children, adult wounded children who were abused at school. And the abuse was so insidious. It was either by a teacher who was grooming them, a teacher who told them they were crap, threw them out the class. I remember once when I was at school, it was a geography class. When I was at school, I was a major truanter. I was bored from day one, but I was in a geography class. And I'm not saying it was a rough school, because it wasn't a rough school, but mysteriously, there was a little spot of blood. God knows what had happened in that classroom. There was a little spot of blood on my desk. And I said to the teacher, can I go and get some I don't know, a wet towel or something to clean my desk? And he threw me out of the class. Wonder why I didn't go. So schools are a huge part of the wounded teenager, huge part. Who had it good at school? That would be the easier question, wouldn't it? And when I talk in school and bullying teachers, too many bullying teachers who compete with children, who don't acknowledge the brilliance of young kids. Because, you know, even if you are a bullying teacher, when you find the courage to acknowledge the brilliance of a young one, it will help you grow. You will grow. It's a symbiotic relationship. So what we're rising up into in this teacher energy is the ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. Okay, so I'm bandying around the word queen. I'm admitting that I had a crowning ceremony a couple of years ago. That's clear communication, but within there is a little tiny flinch of, what? What? Who the hell do you think you are? It's that. Got newspapers coming in now that don't tend to celebrate success unless it's in the sporting world, which is very egocentric. You can't be sovereign. How can you be sovereign? Well, I am fucking sovereign, so deal with it. And the other card that's come out, ooh, wow. Judge. Judged by peers, by teachers, by parents, relatives, siblings. Been a lot of sibling rivalries. It's quite funny, actually. There's been a lot of sibling rivalry coming up in the field. So the judge, in its shadow attribute, offers only destructive criticism. It's the misuse of authority. Okay, misuse of authority. But we're rising up into balancing justice and compassion. No means no, but I see where you're coming from. Okay. Managing the fair distribution of power. Again, come back to this symbiosis. Fair distribution of power is, I can help you grow, not because I'm a people pleaser, but because I know there will be mutual love there, mutual compassion there, or because I don't know what's going to happen and I love to challenge myself, or because I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm fearless. Okay. I've had the remarkable blessing of having birthed healers into the world. I remember a very long time ago when I was just starting as a private practitioner, and I was working with a human being who was kind of getting to the nubbin. And my guide said, bring your drum out. Of course, I mean, that was like, I can't do that. Because in those days I was like a counsellor and there were boundaries. Now there are barely any boundaries, but I do hold a strong boundaried space, I know, and both are true. And so I knew where the drum was. It was in the room. And I picked the drum up and I just put it on the arm of the chair that the client was sitting in. And they went, oh my God, why did you bring that out? And then I just didn't say anything and I let it play out. And what that did was that pulled them right down into the origin of the wound. And the whole story came out. That person went on to become a healer and a psychic and a medium. That was the breakthrough. And I did that because I challenged my boundaries. I had to challenge my boundaries. I had to follow the intuition. Let's talk about this. I wonder what it's like for a teenager, because I can barely remember. I'm so old. I wonder what it's like for a teenager to know that their intuition is coming in. What's that like? How free can they feel in bringing in something as weird as that? Because we know how weird it comes in. Intuition comes in and it's just like, do it. But they'll think I'm weird, do it. But they won't like me, do it. Trust. And so if a teenager was unable to feel into their intuition, and remember, we've got this beautiful energy coming in here. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, 43/7 is presenting as the, so 3 is, do you remember I said the other day, triangulating? If you're stuck in a yes or no, good or bad, right or wrong, do I, don't I, triangulate it with a question mark. Well, what if? And that builds blueprint. So this is divine blueprint, which isn't yet in matter. Okay, intuition, creativity, expansion, feminine. 4 is the container, body. So this is literally bringing light into the body. 4 and 3 is 7, which is the number of the mystic. How beautiful is that? And of course, what is teenager if it isn't the teenage witch, and that applies to boys and girls. When their magic is coming in, and how do they express that magic? Well, now it's time to start budging the boundaries, because you never know what's going to happen. I challenged my boundaries on that day and birthed a healer into the world. That gives me so much joy, because the world needs all the help it can get. They are coming in waves. I have never been so busy in my life. 13 years of being a therapist, and I've never been this busy. They are coming in waves. Okay, so surrender to setting limits, challenge where your limits are, and again, willingly take yourself into, willingly take yourself into chaos and conflict. I might guide that you build a little support network, whether it's your guides, whether it's trusted friends, and change that. Trusted allies are better than friends, because friends generally want to fix you and solve you and mend you. And so in a friend relationship, you haven't got that held facilitated space that allows you to bleed and blurt, okay, without any intervention, any interruption. So build a support network before you move yourself into chaos, so that you know how to move through it, and somebody strong enough can hold you as you move through it and birth new life. Oh, how amazing. I'm just, oh, wow. Okay, last card. I'm just guided to turn the surrender pack upside down. Oh, because if you aren't already wondrous and awesome, you've no idea who you are. We were born wondrous and awesome. Okay. Find your awe, name it, get a journal, name it. What's awesome about you? How do you bring your wonder to the world? Where do you make people go, wow? Where do you do things in the world that make people go, God, that's amazing. I wish I could do that. That's your awesome. Can you open to the magic, to all this witch energy of every moment, and sense the awe and wonder in all of life? This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. Okay, flow creates a mess because it upsets the status quo. Flow upsets the quo. Right, I'm suddenly really hungry. So thank you to all that's guided me in this reading. Thank you to the dragons. Thank you to the teenage witches. Thank you guys for being here. If you know anybody that's going through this, please share this video with them. It might help them. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Drop me a like, share, subscribe, comment. I'll see you all again soon. Much love.